let's talk to Coach Carroll.
We're just getting warmed up. Come on, let's go.
The Pete Carroll Show. The first word from the Seahawks head coach every Monday at 9:30 with Brock and Saul. Presented by the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook and Top Fitness.
Morning, Coach.
What's up?
It was not pretty yesterday, obviously. What happened in the first half?
Boy, we just couldn't get going. Any phase, we were just came out not executing the way we expected to, and it's a funky week, and so you don't really ever get the chance to feel, the rhythm of it and all, and so you have to go all the way to game time. We're saving ourselves physically, and when we came out, we were not on it. The first drive, you could tell on defense, and we were behind it, and then on offense, then we had for the first 6 or 8 plays, we're stumbling around out there, and I think that because Gino get stripped on back by 1 yard line, but we didn't get rolling, and they were on their game doing their stuff like they normally do. They didn't do anything special. They just did their stuff, and they out executed us early in the game.
You said that they didn't do anything special. They just did their stuff. What were you expecting from them then?
Just that.
Just that?
Yeah. Yeah, just that. I mean, that's kind of how they play, and they had good rhythm with the running game, and they played off of that just like they liked to do, and they were able to kind of look like they're supposed to look, and we didn't, and so they got the edge and they got ahead of us.
Were they faster, stronger, quicker than you guys expected them to be?
No, I think because it's on film. They execute like that regularly, and they're on their game, and Christian continues to hit the line of scrimmage, and he takes advantage of every little slip and little miscue in there. He really is tremendously efficient at taking advantage of the mispositioning, and he hits you, and he gets 8 yards on the play, instead of 2 or 3 or something like that, and so we made some errors as well that they took advantage of, and so it just makes them look like they're going faster.
It felt like the third quarter, obviously, you guys dominated that one. Was that a result of you guys playing your game? Were there halftime adjustments that were made?
I think it took us that much time to get going, to get right, and unfortunately that's coming out of the Thursday game. We weren't on it like we needed to be, and I mean, just relative to how they were better than we were, and once we got playing and going, the game was in hand to be shifted. Even 24-3, everything, so you don't have a chance. Yeah, you do, because you got to go back out there and do stuff, and we did stuff. We got the big play from JB, and the unfortunate drive when we get down there, we got to take the field goal. There's back-to-back plays that could have gone, put the ball on the 1 yard line. Didn't happen, and so we have to kick a field goal. That was a big one right there for sure.
Does it feel at times when that's happening in the first half almost like a snowball effect, where it's just sort of hard to stop that snowball from coming downhill at times?
I don't know. I guess that's what it looks like. Maybe.
I mean, it looks that way. So that was sort of when you're in that as a coach, what are you doing in those moments?
We're hoping to find the play that changes the rhythm of it, and just illustrated. Look at the play, the interception for a touchdown, and how that changes things. Mm-hmm. Or it could be the third down stop, the tackle that we don't make. We got him 3-4 yards from the six. He spins around, everybody airballs the hit, and we get dragged for a first down. That was a very significant moment right there. Stop them there. They got to decide what they're going to do. They may kick it. We don't know what they're going to do, but that was a huge play. And there are, when it's this close, this tight, those plays make a difference. And so you're trying to find yours to make the momentum be on our side. And we didn't find one until really to the second half.
Maybe I'm making an excuse for him here. That's the Witherspoon play I think you're talking about,
yes,
where he had him on the sideline. Is he thinking about last week and getting a 15-yard penalty called where he has a guy in the similar kind of situation, he has him in the grasp, and he pulls the suplex move? Maybe I'm giving him a break, but does that run through his head in that moment?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't think that was part of the deal. He just got to moving with the guys competing really hard to get out, and he needed a little bit more assistance, and the guys just erred in their angle, and we just missed over the top of it. 3 different guys could have had a shot to finish that play for him, and the guy falls forward. I don't think that's what it was.
I do have questions about the offense, but to look at what worked on the defense, Jordan Brooks, you mentioned JB's play and that kind of turning it around. I was watching the game and started feeling like, are they going to do this? That was the difference between this game and the Baltimore game, was thinking oh, they're getting back in this. This is a game now. and obviously, weren't able to finish it out. But what's a bummer for JB is he can't really, is it hard for these guys to like celebrate after the fact? It feels like there was this really cool moment from Jordan Brooks, really great catch from JSN, and neither of them are like probably celebrating in the locker room for these moments. I mean, how do you balance being able to be like, hey, be proud of what you did after a loss?
Yeah, that's a whole interesting vein to go down. We'll go through that. It's part of the frustration, that you take away from a game's over, and you had these moments, and that just weren't celebrated and weren't able to be celebrated. But that's the facts; they aren't, and so their memories, and the play was made and it was done and all that. That was a phenomenal moment in that catch. It was a phenomenal moment because of the flip. He did one in practice last week that was just shocked everybody. Jackson caught a ball in the corner of the end zone. It was on the last day of practice. It just shocked us. He didn't see the ball until the last instant, and he made a catch. He has those in him, and that. So it's kind of like no surprise, but wow, he did it again, and it was really amazing. But you're right. Those moments get kind of set back, and you'll have to accumulate them later on, in other ways and stuff to enjoy. But there's not a whole lot of enjoyment in Mudville on this one,
Yeah, so let's kind of go through this offense because the offense itself scores 3 points really in the game. What is going on with this offense right now?
Well, the defense that we played against is they make you have to get it done, and you've got to execute, and you can't hold the football, which we got sacked a bunch of times last night because we got in situations where we had to try to get the ball down the field some. They make it hard, and when the fields are long, like it was horrible field position for us, it's totally in their favor. And so the big plays, you need to set up the field just like the long kickoff. We get a long kickoff return, at least we get something, and we have to stay out of those situations against a team like that. Or they're already established. That's how they play. Mm-hmm. And so you got to find your ways. We did not find our ways. We just need better mix in all the aspects. It's all of it needs to be better. We needed to run block better. We needed to pass pro better. We need to make sure our routes were clean and the throws were right. There's nothing that is okay in this one.
So we were kind of talking through this a little bit earlier because you look at the talent on the offense, and there sure seems to be a lot of it. You got 3 wide receivers or more that you really like. You got a couple running backs you really like. You got a tight end room that is 3 deep. It might be the deepest tight end room. Is there a challenge inherent there in trying to figure out what the real personality or identity of that offense is when you're like, hey, I can run 3 tight ends, but then I got to take Jackson off the field, or I want to make sure I get the ball to Jackson, but now I'm not running the ball as much as I should. Is there a clarity on what the identity of this offense is?
I think it's a good point, Mike. Because we do have guys that we like to go to, and we would like to utilize everybody, and you like to feel like, oh, we're really smart, we're using all the guys and all that. But when there's not very many plays, it just doesn't feel like it works out that way, and we're never going to be able to satisfy all those issues right there because we like all of our receivers. Bobo's got stuff too, and he's the 4th. Receiver of the group and getting in the game and all that. So it's a problem. It is a problem in a sense. It's a good problem though, and it's one I just wish we were settled more. We're getting late in the year now. We got to get it together. Excuse me. We got to get it together and make sure that we do a better job than we're doing right now. I guess that was pretty clear.
Yeah, I think Maura had time for that one. I'm going to kind of jump off of what Mike said because we were talking about this and saying like, God, like you guys have added so much personnel defense-wise, and we've seen some real improvements there. And it feels like every week, I think fans are just waiting for the offense to look like the offense we know that they can. You mentioned, well, it's tough because sometimes you don't have enough plays to actually dig into it. How much of the balance is trying to find like different types of plays? You know what I mean? Like if all year you've been like, we've been struggling with 3rd down all year. How much of each week is changing the approach, and how much of it is thinking we have the right approach, we just need to do it?
There's a challenge to that because you see stuff that works, and you see stuff that's executed well against them. So you want to, see if we can, tweak our stuff so if it's different, or it shows us what we should choose from the things that we have in our repertoire. But there's, that's part of it. That's also constant in the game. You try to figure out what's going to fit, what's going to be right. And the most important part of it, what can you execute well? Because things don't always happen the same way like they're supposed to. We ran 3 or 4 different plays in this game that were unique to this game plan that the look didn't wind up being the way we most wanted it to be, and so we had to tweak it or we had to get out of it, and so we didn't get the shot that we wanted. That just happens. That's part of it. But it's a constant battle to try to figure that out and put it all together.
Does it feel like this offensive line? It's interesting. You got so much depth on it, and yet you watched the game yesterday. I felt like the offensive line struggled a little bit, and I know they got a good defensive front. Could we be looking at some changes along the offensive line at some point here?
Well, we're going to keep competing. We're pretty fortunate right now in that we're pretty healthy, and so we have choices. Abe will come back this week. Hopefully he gets a chance to play. This will be the first time I really officially say that he has a chance to play. He'll get the week and all that. But we're going to keep competing. We didn't rotate as much as we had planned on, or we had done in other weeks. But yet Stone got a chance to play anyway because JP had to come out. So we'll continue to work it and let those guys take their shots. Bradford is a guy that we like seeing in the game. He didn't get to play, I don't think, at all. So there's a chance for that.
How much does Abe coming back mean for this offensive line?
We'll see. We would have thought at the early part of the season that we wouldn't be the same without him. Guys played pretty well. Stone hung in there during the transition time, and then Jason got in there and did some nice things for us. Unfortunately, couldn't finish last night, but so I would think he should help us. We've loved what he's given us in the past, and if he's going to have to round himself back into shape now. It's been a while, so we'll see how he does.
What did you make of Gino's decision making yesterday?
He was stressed. He was stressed by the rush some, and their coverage was aggressive, and they did a nice job. He had some tough throws to make. He made some good shots, and where we came up short is on the deep ball. We really went after these guys downfield. They'd had a ton of penalties and all that. We wanted to see if we could convert on those, and we didn't get anything out of them to speak of other than the corner out that we hit Jackson on. But we made a concerted effort to get the ball down the field, and DK missed by inches on the one that we catch. That might have had an impact on the game. In addition, further down the road, them grabbing whatever they needed to do. So, I think that was the downfall for us, was we weren't able to convert on the chances that we take. Because when you throw it an incomplete, you lose a whole play in a sequence, and so we didn't get as much out of that as we thought we would.
It could be an individual play. It could be a player or a thought heading into it. But what surprised you most about this game?
It surprised me that we weren't even early. We didn't stay even. It was, I think, 7-3 by the end of the quarter or something like that, and that should have been okay in a good tight game. They had one good drive, and we're going back and forth. But it didn't stay even, and they were able to get, they got a bunch of points on the board, and so now it's 24-3. That didn't seem like that should have happened. When it got to 24-13, it felt like, this is a good football game here, and we've made ourselves a chance to get back in this thing, and that. And I'm looking at the clock, and we're still in the third quarter. We're kind of, it's kind of we got a shot here, and so it was just one sequence after another that was going to make the difference. I didn't realize at the time not scoring at 24-13 would have been that big a deal, but that touchdown was really, really big.
Yeah, and it's a bad call. You don't have to say it. We can say it. They obviously miss a call, but you come down again at the fourth quarter, I think it is, and you end up in the 2 short yardage situations, 3rd and 1, and then 4th and 1. You got to help me with something. For me, why shotgun on 4th and 1? This is more of a general football question. Yeah, I just don't get it.
The blocking scheme of that play was a downhill blocking scheme, but we're in the gun to run it, just hoping. I think in the call is hoping that you get them to widen, thinking, they may throw the football, we get an edge there. That's all that was. I thought we made the sneak. First of all, and I thought we made that. We didn't, I guess, and so we got to go for the next one. Should have had that. Should have been an easy conversion right there. We didn't get it.
How do you balance? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, how do you balance as a head coach wanting your coordinators to have autonomy and then deciding when to step in and be like, hey, what about this? What do you think about this?
Yeah, that's what this job is. It's all of that, figuring that. How to try to influence, in the way that feels right to do. Try to make observations that feel right, and then also make sure that you're supporting their momentum as they put their plans together and their calls together. There's a big, opportunity to really screw them up, to try too hard from the head coach position, whether it's in the game or whether it's in preparation during the week. And that's just an ongoing struggle. It's been that for 20 years, and trying to figure out how to do that best. But there's a lot more to that answer. There's a lot to that.
Have you ever felt as a head coach like, oh, I screwed that up and I shouldn't have stepped in?
Heck yeah. Yeah, many times. And
what were one of those moments?
Many of them. I mean, you just in changing a person's outlook. If you say something at the wrong time, like if I speak to the callers during the sequencing of the calling, I've learned that that's totally unfair to them, and you can't afford to do that because they've got a train of thought that they're on in their sequencing. So I learned that a long time ago. That doesn't mean I don't screw it up once in a while, but I'm really good at that now. But I used to be, I would factor in way more than I should.
Yeah.
And it's just really disruptive to them, and they have to have their train of thought connected and supported as well. So I'd spend most of my time between series when I'm conversing with guys in games.
So essentially, when the defense has the ball, you're talking to Shane or vice versa.
When I have something to convey.
Yeah, make sure.
But I know better. I've learned.
Do you think you? I don't really know where I'm going with this, but do you feel like you?
Let it rip.
Do you feel like you are more? Engaged with that process now or less so? Are you giving more power to your coordinators, or are you more involved than you used to be?
Well, I think it's still pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same. I mean, I've been doing it a long time. I haven't changed that much in the last 20 years, and it's been a process of trying to find the right balance with the individuals and the personalities that you're dealing with, from the player side of it to the coach's side of it. I've been engaged this year, from the start of this thing. I was really excited about this year coming out, and we had to adjust the stuff that we did on defense, and we made sure that we were together and connected on that. I didn't leave them out on their own, and we've been working it with the other side of the ball too. So, I got nowhere to turn. I'm a big part of what's going on here. I'm not one to go ahead and try to shove it on somebody else. This is something that I'm involved with. I love being involved with it. That's why I feel so responsible for not doing enough to make it right. That enough might not be more. Enough might be less, nudging in the right direction, helping people trying to find their best. That's what this job is really all about.
You got a week before Dallas and then San Francisco
Seems
and
like
Philly.
a freaking month.
Right.
To
But
have a whole week.
This is quite the little stretch here you guys have. I'm sure it's one game at a time, but from just a schedule standpoint, these 4 games right in a row against top-tier contenders in the NFL. What comes next? What do you need to focus on before these next few games, and specifically against Dallas?
We have to get this game plan ready to roll for Dallas. That's it. I mean, there's nothing else in the world but that. There's one game only. They're really on fire right now. They're playing great football, from what I can gather. I haven't dug into it yet, but I just picking up on the hype. They're on fire at home in particular, and doing some great stuff. They're a totally different team than what we just played on offense. Defensively, they're very similar, similar makeup and construction of it and all that. DQ, all of his background and all that. So we'll dig into all that stuff. But each one of these games they're just amazing tests of where you are. And this game last night was a test, and we didn't pass the test. We screwed it up.
So let me ask you that maybe a different way. If you could wave your magic wand and improve one element of what this team is doing, what would it be?
I'd go third down. Yeah, third down conversions.
And what is the problem there, other than some of it I'm sure is down in distance? But what is it? What element of third downs?
Converting them. I mean, we got it. Whatever. They're all different. They're all unique. Like the short yardage one last night, we should have hit it on the sneak. We didn't get it. It's just all of those in connection. It affects the flow of the game so much and you're in control of the game so much more so when you are winning on third down. That's what we have to get done. It just feels like it's been a real Achilles heel the whole time.
How big a situation is this now? I mean, lost 3 out of 4. How
huge? Yeah,
how big a spot are we in?
We won't consider it any differently because you can't. All you can do is give everything you can to one game and see if you can make it right and get a win and go to the next one. You do it all over again. It's not like, okay, let's stack up. We can give a couple games away here to get some games here down the road. It isn't. That's not how this works, in my opinion. You got to freaking turn and funnel everything you can into what's coming and see if you can get this game. And that means getting ready for a really good Wednesday practice on Sunday or whatever the heck it is, and to get this thing right.